Hey everyone, welcome back to Drive It Out. My name is Adam, and if you are not new to the channel, then you know that we do automotive reviews as well as car comparisons and walk around reviews at some of the biggest auto shows around. But I have started a playlist here on the channel specifically for automotive adventures, and the purpose of this was I just wanted to hold on to this part of me that is still growing in my automotive love and in my driving abilities and in my performance driving experiences, because I want you guys to know that this isn't just an automotive channel for reviews and keep you up to date on the latest, tech and everything going on in cars or anything like that. This is about genuinely looking at vehicles and saying, are they good to drive? What about them are the characteristics that make them engaging and fun to drive? And part of that means digging through this part of me and my personal life that has constantly over the years been pursuing driving experiences and pulling more out of the driving experience. And I want to share that with you because I feel like there's many of you who are out there who are going through the same thing. Everybody's journey is a little different, but you have a car love inside of you, and then you want to know how to nurture it. So long story short, I will talk more about this in the future and on other driving adventure videos as well as some podcast episodes. But what I really want to just say here is this is going to kind of be a sneak peek into what my driving experience has been like since I was very young. So I was into cars at a very young age, as many of us are, all the way going back to Hot Wheels, right? And then you get a driver's license and you start to drive. Even before that, you see cars that you are drawn to, that you long for, and you have posters on your wall, or you have car calendars, or whatever it was for you. Maybe it was cars you saw in video games, or however you were exposed to it. But my car love started very early. And when I became of age to have a license here in the United States, in 16 years old, I got my driver's license. And within a year, I was able to get my own car. I wasn't just driving one of my parents' cars. I was able to get my own car. My first car was a Camaro. And I'm not going to talk about all of these cars in detail, but I've owned 22 cars to this point. I'm 37 years old as we speak right now, so I've had a driver's license for over 20 years, and I've had 22 vehicles. I've been through 3 Camaros. I've been through a Firebird. I've been through 2 Mustangs. I've been through many Hondas and many Acuras. I've had a truck. I've had multiple SUVs. My car experience has kind of been all over the place, but I've been able to find myself driving other vehicles through jobs I've had, whether it was working at a car wash / detail shop, whether it was detailing cars on my own on the side, or whatever it was. I was always looking for ways to drive more cars. So I'm going to cut out a big piece of the story in the middle and just say this. Like, my goal in life was always to own a Corvette. I've talked about this other times. I finally did. I bought that car in 2018. And I had that car for 3 years, 3.5, and I loved that car so much. And I had great driving experiences in it and great driving adventures in it, which I will talk about again in other videos. But where I was at in my driving growth during that time was I was really starting to learn the driving dynamics of a car and how different chassis and different layouts acted differently. And I had a lot of cars with a big power at that point. And I started to gain this need to extract more out of a car by just simply feeling more. I needed to feel more things in a vehicle than I had ever felt before. And what that means is going more raw. That means getting lighter weight. That means getting less electronics. And, in a vehicle that means I wanted to break down my driving skills. And what better way to do that than kind of break down my vehicle experiences down to something that was very simple and very much just about driver engagement. So I sold my Corvette. I almost kept it and then bought a cheap Miata, but what I did was I sold my Corvette. I got an NC Miata, and I immediately started planning driving adventures with it. I wanted to kind of break down again my skills, go back to the basics, and learn from the beginning in kind of a new way, kind of have some experiences in this vehicle that I hadn't had before. And one major one was I wanted to try autocrossing. Now, I had done a little bit of track experiences on like a big track, but I'd always been very interested in autocross, as it is a way to get yourself on a really tight course and experience all of the dynamics that a vehicle has to offer in a very concentrated area. So you are using the extremes of the vehicle from an acceleration standpoint, from a braking standpoint, and from a handling standpoint, just in a tight spot where it's safe in a controlled environment where you've got cones. And the worst thing you're going to do is you're going to slide off and maybe hit a cone, or who knows, depending on where you're at, maybe go into a little bit of grass or something, but that's about it. And you're going to get to focus just on the feedback you're getting from the vehicle, what you're feeling in your hands and fingertips, what you're feeling in your feet with feedback from the car, and what you're feeling in your butt. And this is what I was after. This is why I wanted to break down my automotive experience, and that meant going to a vehicle like a Miata. I shopped for this car for a long time. I found one I wanted exactly, and I wanted a red one. I wanted the power retractable hardtop. I wanted an NC, and it's what I found. So I immediately wanted to start having driving experiences with this vehicle. And so that's what I did. So everybody who knew me, who was around me, you can imagine, if they knew me anytime in the last 20 to 25 years, they knew all I ever talked about was owning a red Corvette. And I finally got that vehicle, and I had it for 3.5 years, and I was loving every second of it. But I had reached kind of a pinnacle in what my automotive desire from a vehicle standpoint, and I now was longing to go after this part of myself, my driving self, and my performance driving abilities. And I didn't want to use the Corvette to go pull those things out of me. I wanted to use something simpler that I had less mechanical sympathy for, and that is how I ended up in the Miata. But people around me really were confused about what I was doing. And so if I can explain it to them thoroughly, sometimes they kind of get it, but I never have been able to fully get everyone to really understand. But you car enthusiasts out there, people maybe who are where I am, who had just sitting around, and you have a full-time job and life and other things going on in your world outside of driving, but there's a part of you that always has longed to do more from a driving standpoint, to get better at that skill. And that is something I had talked about for years, and I wanted to share this with you, specifically about this car and these adventures I've been going on with it, to tell you that it's never too late to go and try to extract that part out of you that just wants to drive and just wants to have that feel of you and the mechanical device that you are in, that you're using to carve up a curvy road or a racetrack or whatever it is. But you want to pull more of you out of you, because when we learn to drive, we don't do it in a way in this country typically where we learn the edges of a vehicle. The test is very simple in the United States, and you miss out on another level that I think would benefit all of us to be at, where you need to go and experience the edges of a vehicle. You need to know what happens when you are really using all of the brakes, and when you are really using all of the handling and all of the tires and their capabilities. And there is so much to be learned at the edge of a vehicle's abilities, because that's where your growth and your abilities begins. So this Miata here has been so awesome. I spent 2022 going on road trips in this car. Yes, it is tiny. Yes, it is not as comfortable to road trip in as it is in the Corvette that I had, or any of the muscle cars I had before that, or obviously the other vehicles I had, the sedans and the SUVs and the trucks. But this is a very tight space, but I did some road trips in it. I had some great experiences with it. My wife went with me on many of these adventures. She is very proficient with manual transmission and driving them in a performance manner as well. We've had a lot of hot cars over the years from a power standpoint, and so she can definitely handle herself. So she's really enjoyed this new experience as well. But I really dove headfirst into the autocross experience as well. I did not know what that was going to be like. And I tell you what, I was so pleasantly surprised with that community. So I'm really making this video. You see this footage running of me having some of these experiences, driving on the road trips and seeing new things, but really the autocross experience, I'm there. I have an instructor with me at times. Sometimes I have an instructor in the driver's seat and they're out there showing me things. I really learned so much, and being able to go out and use all of a car, and I don't just mean your right foot, getting in a straight line and using the accelerator and putting it to the floor. I mean using all of the vehicle's dynamics. There's so much to experience there and so much to learn. So I tell you what, if you are looking to experience something like this, you say, I really want to know what it's like to drive at the limits, at a car's limits and at my own limits, and I want to grow. I want to use that to learn how to extract more of an experience out of a vehicle, feel more things, and really learn what a car is doing. What does that feeling mean that the tires are doing? What does that feeling mean that the engine is doing or the brakes are doing? And that is going to wake up some parts of you inside that help you to learn what you like and dislike about the way vehicles drive. And this is a lost art, because if you're shopping for a vehicle and all you care about is it has the latest version of Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and it's got this many speakers in it, maybe you really care about this is what the 0 to 60 time is on paper. I tell you what, that is really the wrong way to shop for a vehicle, because you could get a vehicle that you think has all those things that you aspire to have, and you get in the vehicle and you drive it for a while and you don't like it and you can't really explain why. So I tell you what, a great way to learn, and the best way to learn what you really like to feel and get back out of a car, is by driving a vehicle and driving it hard and driving it at the limits and learning some performance driving skills, basic things. So this vehicle was really all about my 2022 driving in this Miata. It's a 2012 NC Miata. It's a touring. It's a 6-speed manual. It's the power retractable hardtop. It's leather. It's got heated seats, and the sound system is horrendous. It's absolutely terrible, and I don't care. I've had such a great time in this vehicle. I'm driving this vehicle at its limits all the time, whereas in the Corvette that I had and other cars before it, I found myself often holding back in day-to-day driving because there's just not enough room to run, you know? So, but with this Miata, it's so rev happy and it's so lightweight. It's right around 2,500 pounds. This vehicle, it's actually the heaviest Miata they've ever made, was the NC and the power retractable hardtop. And it still is a crazy lightweight, 2,500 pounds curb weight. And if you got the soft top, it'd be even lighter. And then if you get another Miata generation, an NA or an NB or an ND, you're going to be even lighter weight potentially. So I tell you what, I took this car all over the hills of Arkansas. There's some great hills there. I went to South Missouri and into Oklahoma and back, driven all over my state with it. I really am looking forward to some more track experiences with it in 2023. And the autocross that I went to, find a local autocross near you. I'm sure there is autocross people near you. Find that, get into that, because that is a very welcoming community. And guess what? It doesn't matter what you're driving. Run what you brung, all right? So show up, and you are going to be able to learn so much. It's such a great community to go into because you can show up and you can say, hey, I'm here to learn. Can I ride along with you? They'll get you a helmet. You can ride along with them, and you can just experience and learn and take feedback and get into it. There's a low barrier to entry. Cost-wise, there's a low barrier to entry experience-wise, and they'll make sure you're in the right class, you're novice, and you go out there and they're really some good people that will teach you, and you can learn. If you decide to get really into it, you can do that as well. So this is really a driving adventure video about my journey from being in a place where I really had all of the car that I really aspired to have, but I got there and realized I didn't have all of the driver that I aspire to have. And I decided to go back and get it and go back and find it. And it's been so rewarding. And I will get back into some of those other vehicles that I love in the future. I know I will have another Corvette someday. It is on the to-do list. I will probably have another muscle car of some sort. I will probably have another lightweight sports car. There are other lightweight cars out there that I really like. The GR86 is definitely one of them. So, I would love to have a Porsche Cayman and talk about some mid-engine feel there. That I'm really looking forward to get into that. If you know this channel, some of the other vehicles I've driven, we've driven the new Corvette mid-engine. We've driven every generation Corvette, actually. Check out that video. But I've driven mid-engine cars. We've got a great Porsche Boxster that we did a review on. Panamera, I've done some Porsche stuff. I've also done newer Mustangs and muscle cars, and I'm just really excited to experience so many different types of cars, and Drive It Out has been a platform that's really allowed me to do that. So I want to let you know that I have more driving adventures coming on video that I will be showing you, and one of which is I am planning on going to the Porsche driving experience in Atlanta, the Porsche Performance Driving Center there. And I also plan on going to the BMW Performance Driving School in South Carolina. And I'm always taking trips, it seems, every few years back and forth to the Corvette Museum, the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And they have a first-class track there as well. So I want to encourage you guys, if you are out there and there's something inside of you that just wants to become a better driver and learn more things, I want to urge you to pursue that. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to pursue that. You can actually go backwards like I did to pursue that and get a car that's small and lightweight like a Miata is so good for, and the consumables are cheap. The brakes and all of those things, the brakes and tires are much cheaper than they were on a Corvette. And a Corvette is a very reliable vehicle that where the consumables aren't too bad. But I went even cheaper than that because you want to have less mechanical sympathy and you want to just be able to focus on learning skills and developing skills. So this is a video meant to encourage that for you. I've had great adventures in this car this year, and I'm excited to show them to you a little bit as they've been panning here on the screen. Drive It Out here, we are all about preserving the love of the driving experience. We started Drive It Out over 3 years ago. Me and my friend John, my close friend John, he's been so great, everything that he's done for this channel, all the video work, and I've had other friends that have helped as well, like my friend Cole on some of the big projects, and we're really excited about some of the things that we are going to do in the future. But thanks for watching this one, guys. This was kind of a look at what I am personally driving right now. NC Miata, touring, 6-speed manual. If you get the Sport, you get a 5-speed. If you get the Touring or the Grand Touring, you get the 6-speed manual with the NC. And I know the car market is crazy and wild right now, but I just urge you to do not wait. Seize the day and find you something that is small and lightweight and fun, and go learn things about driving dynamics and about yourself and your own abilities that you never knew were in there. And it doesn't matter where you're at in your car experiences in life, whether you still have never gotten that any performance car of any kind, even though you've always longed to, or whether you've had tons of performance cars, and whether they're European, they're cars from over in Asia, they're American cars, it doesn't matter. I challenge you to go start digging things out of the driving experience that you never knew were there. And that is what Drive It Out is all about, because we have an entire generation coming where not all of them seem to be that into driving themselves, and they're really going to miss out on some great experiences. You can learn a lot about yourself doing this. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for checking out some of this video and looking at some of the footage and photos that I've taken over the past year of this vehicle that I bought. It's been an absolute joy, and I can't wait to show you guys some more driving adventures, and look for more in-depth reviews coming up soon, as well as some more walkarounds from some auto shows. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. See you next time.